Part of the reason why I did so badly in politics, my political career is obviously over. A person who's tormented and suffering Parkinson's is a lost cause. But the reason why I did so badly um, is sort of obvious. I had neuroplastic amnesia. And I want to point out that what would be called ambiguities by a normal person come from the reality of cloak and dagger affairs going on in the University of Pittsburgh because we were so close to the very wealthy drama department of Carnegie Mellon and had aristocratic and powerful people who were interested in our turf. Cathedral of Learning is an impressive old architectural achievement. Well, I was up against laboratory professionals, sophisticated um, and trained Hollywood professionals, old school bigot police from Westmoreland County, the old guard of the Vietnam War and John Wayne film history, and intrepid lopers, all without knowing it. I was up against all of those people as a child with neuroplastic amnesia. Of course, we live in a world where people pick on each other and play surreal games. These people, the reason why they're so famous and rich is because they have surreal language skills. And I was so deaf I couldn't get a job doing anything but shuffling some library papers or washing dishes. I had to work two full-time dishwashing jobs to keep up with my girlfriend, who was a waitress, because she got tips. I can't wait tables. I'm deaf. It was a remarkable achievement that I was able to um, score some happiness with a strawberry blonde from Maine. And of course, the booby trap that England sent in hated Kathy. I can never understand that. It wasn't jealousy, it was something else. But I approached King Crimson because at least I could make sense of them. I thought, they have conceptual art that I can relate to. The Night Watch was a painting I used to have on my wall from the time I was about 13 to the time I was um, probably 18 or 19. And it was beautiful. The Night Watch was a fine crafted achievement in music and literature. And I thought, well, at least I can make sense of them. I'll talk to them. And their hot shots wasn't pulling my head to kiss me and stuff. So, I mean, I felt sort of safe around them. That was what Mick Ronson did. He pulled my head to kiss me. The hot shot of King Crimson was sort of standoffish. I mean, he was attentive but standoffish. He said, "No, I don't want to be involved in a personal correspondence." I can understand that. I wanted him to know what was going on because I was trying to get a grip on the arts. I had suffered so badly in their name. I had suffered so badly in their name. I thought at least these people will probably try to do something wise. I never should have turned to them for help. It was the stupidest thing I ever did. My father called them a good bunch of bums. They weren't a good bunch of bums. They're a rotten, stinking bunch of bums. The only warning I remember was something in Young Person's Guide that said the environment was characterized by ill will and malice. I was excitable, I guess, somebody could launch at me because I was too excited. But I felt safe around them. I didn't really feel that safe later when they started feedback looping me because it was obviously aggressive. And I was up against Bull Connor. I mean, it was like being water hosed. And I really was not doing anything that wrong. Peter Gabriel says, I'd rather trust a man who doesn't shout what he found. Well, I was deaf and wanted to go to school. I wanted to impress my college, so I printed the interview with a review of his lyrics, which I misidentified as conscious irony. Conscious irony is not spite malice. Penis Gabriel is a spiteful, malicious person, not a consciously ironic do-gooder. So what did they choose to do with their surreal language skills? They feedback looped me through a known miscreant in computer translations. And when I tried to warn people, they drove me out of town, poisoned me, tortured me, castrated me, raped my deaf advocate. You know, it was a union of some sort. You know, when I was in Philadelphia, I wanted to give Fripp my discipline copper. And a man came up to me, or two men came up to me. One of them came up to me and said, you might be thinking of asking him for a job now. I said, why not? I said, it's a union man's job. You take a union man's job, it ain't going to sit too well with them. Next guy came up to me. I told him what I was trying to do. He said, I'll give it to him. Ooh, that's nice. I'll give it to him for you. So I handed it over. I made it for Fripp. I hope they'd like it. Yeah. It didn't have the second line because it was hard enough to get the main line of the discipline insignia in copper wire. I meant to try, but there wasn't much time. Could probably thread a string through it for the second line. So I didn't really know what was going on or who knew what. I was trying to keep to the sincere thread of the neurotrauma, which I didn't know was in there, but I could feel some hacking away in my psyche. Trying to keep close to it, figure out what was going on with my mind, my thinking processes. Eventually, it got blown open by the booby trap. I don't wish to be involved in personal correspondence. Here's a potion for you. Breath. So I just recorded things as I felt, identified my inner psyche. Islam mysticism is like that. So maybe because I could see they were tending towards the idea of lyrics that my mother didn't like about them, which was words that just felt good for how they sounded rather than communicating for what they mean. And it was hard work to demonstrate editorial comprehension of what I was doing. I wrote an article for the Bar Harbor Times, which covered a whole page. It was a letter comparing AIDS to the Jewish Holocaust. And that was before I knew that it actually was organized with intent to exterminate me as like a parochial final call in Pittsburgh public schools at those stupid people at Pitt and at the Pittsburgh public school system went along with. Stupid people. It shatters me. I have no remorse about saying that. It's absolutely unbelievable gall to poison somebody. You don't have to argue about the Hippocratic Oath. It's common decency never to do that to somebody. They have their fucking chemistry sets putting out things like flame over Africa, and they still don't come clean about it. remorseless, and foxy. Hey, boy, they knew what they were doing. And they knew I had no clue. And they set up all sorts of Jaime Carbonell mistranslation, misconstructions, so they could laugh and say, their market force is queer ball.